A very good afternoon and many thanks for joining us at this time. You're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. The top stories. Tens of thousands of mourners gather in Tabriz as Iran gets set for the funeral ceremonies of President Ibrahim Raisi and Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian. Student loan program takes off on Friday with 1.2 million students in federal tertiary institutions across the country. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf directs the prosecution of suspected mastermind of last week's bombing of a mosque in the state. Details in a moment. Welcome back. I am Ameh with a piece of summary. Now let's start off with the latest from Iran as tens of thousands of mourners today waved Iranian flags and portraits of the late President Ibrahim Raisi. Reports have it that the mourners had set out from a central square in the northwestern city where Raisi was headed when his helicopter crashed. This is as funeral ceremonies for Iranian state dignitaries occur over an extended period of time in several locations. It was gathered that after the procession in Tabriz, the bodies of Raisi, who was 63, and Amir Abdullahian, 60, will be taken to CUPP, a city in central Iran, as said to be of great religious significance, for another ceremony, and then moved to the capital. But a larger ceremony is built to take place in Tehran on Wednesday, with Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei expected to lead the prayers and foreign dignitaries in attendance. Recall that President Ibrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian, and 6 others died in a helicopter crash on Sunday. Coming back to Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, where about 20 residents of Dawaki, a community near Kubwa, have been kidnapped. Chairman of Dawaki community, Tunde Abdulrahim, while speaking to newsmen, said the incident happened at about 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. Abdulrahim said the armed men, numbering about 50, invaded a community and broke into about 6 houses. Confirming the incident, the FCT police spokesperson, SP Josephine Ades, said in a statement that the Commissioner of Police, Benneth Igwe, led policemen to the scene and engaged the kidnappers in a gun battle. SP Ades said this led to a fierce gun battle as the hoodlums were overwhelmed by the firepower of the operatives, forcing them to scamper to safety with various degrees of bullet injuries, and the victims were rescued. Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele has said the establishment of state police will go a long way in addressing the insecurity across the country. Bamidele, who stated this in a statement issued by his media office, described the current state of policing in Nigeria as ailing and dysfunctional. He said the system can no longer guarantee the dignity of human lives and the security of collective assets, considering the security dynamics in the Fourth Republic. The lawmaker attributed his stance to the rise in armed attacks, which is said are orchestrated by diverse interests, either pursuing divisive agendas or seeking predatory ends in virtually all geopolitical zones. Senator Bamidele further noted that the ongoing review of the 1999 Constitution would allow stakeholders to interrogate the nation's security framework and take a position on the desirability or otherwise of state police in the country. Media reports have it that the proposal for the creation of state police has been a subject of debate, with views and counter-views trailing it. After several postponements, the long-awaited student loan program takes off this Friday with 1.2 million students in federal tertiary institutions across the country. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, Akintunde Sawyer, who stated this during a pre-application sensitization press conference in Abuja, said the students to benefit from the first phase of the scheme would be drawn from federal universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and technical colleges. Recall that President Bola Tinubu signed the Student Loans and Access to Higher Education Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024 into law on April 3rd this year. It was gathered that the assent was sequel to the separate considerations by both the Senate and the House of Representatives of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. Consequently, the Act empowers the Nigeria Education Loan Fund to provide loans to qualified Nigerian students for tuition, fees, charges, and upkeep during their studies in approved public tertiary institutions and vocational and skills acquisition establishments in the country. The Independent Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has hinted that the 210,000 barrel per day Port Harcourt refinery may commence operations by the end of July. This was disclosed by IPMAN's National Public Relations Officer, Ukadike Chinedu. Chinu said the development would stimulate economic activities, reduce the price of petroleum products, and ensure adequate supply. It will be recorded that the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokbobiri, had in December 2023 announced the mechanical completion and flare start-off of the biggest crude refinery in Port Harcourt. Media reports have it that the refinery comprises of 2 units, with the old plant having a refined capacity of 60,000 barrels per day and the new plant 150,000 barrels per day. The refinery was shut down in March 2019 for the first phase of repair works. You're watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, it's about to be a moment of truth for cabinet members under the President Tinubu-led administration as Nigerians wait patiently for the outcome of the review of the ministerial scorecard. An anti-corruption activist and General Secretary, Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, Peter Ameh, tells us whether the ministerial performance review can ensure efficient and effective policy outcomes. This conversation will be coming up shortly after this break. Do join us again. Welcome back from that break. You're watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Now let's head on to Kano State, where the governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, has directed the prosecution of the suspected mastermind of last week's bombing of a mosque at Gadan village. Gezawa sentenced him to death. With the death toll at 15, the Kano State Police Commander has identified the mastermind as Shafiu Abubakar. According to the police, Abubakar threw a locally made bomb at the mosque while worshippers were inside. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is expected to receive the scorecard of members of his cabinet this week, while the President Tinubu-led administration clocks 1 year next week. The ministers clock 9 months in office today, having been sworn in on August 21st, 2023. The scorecard of special advisors and heads of key departments and agencies will also likely be delivered to the president. It will be recorded that 48 ministers were inaugurated by the president, but eventually reduced to 46 following the resignation of the Minister of Labor and Employment, Simon Lalong, to take up his seat at the Senate following his victory at the Court of Appeal. Recall also that the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Betta Edu, was suspended in March following allegations of misappropriation and diversion of funds in her ministry. I'm being joined now by the General Secretary, Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP or CUPP if you like, Peter Ameh. Right. So much to talk about with a lot to take in. Indeed, before the inauguration of these ministers, a number of Nigerians had actually clamored for the president to have a blend or a mix of, technocrats and politicians in his cabinet, especially for one that, has shown Nigerians that he's hell-bent on, changing the narrative. Of course, it is a renewed hope agenda. Nigerians right now are hopeful that at the end of the day, any minister who performs below expectation, would be fired, or definitely something would actually come, afterwards. But you are one public figure that has been very active and vocal in terms of, criticizing, the policies and roles that some of these ministries and the ministers have played since they, got sworn into office. One will recall how vocal you were with regards to the Minister of Power, who has come under heat, in recent times. And you also talk about the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Betta Idu. You recall we had a conversation about her at that time. But let's get your thoughts on all of this. What has changed after 9 months in office for these ministers?
Nothing has really changed. The essence of governance, like we have always preached and talked about, is that you make life better for the people. For the side of security, the ministers of defense and the service chiefs have failed woefully because security is worse. People can go to farm, and without agriculture, Nigeria can't grow. It's a major, in the barest minimum level. Because governance is not doing any multinational agricultural project. So this subsistence agricultural arrangement and farming arrangement in the communities have made our communities a little bit stable. But now it has worsened the situation because people can no longer go to farm because of lack of security. And in some other local government, there's no peace. There's no, people in this administration. In Zamfara, in Niger, soldiers died. Soldiers died in Niger State. So it's not something we are talking about, and we need to look at the other ministers. Some of them are not being seen anywhere. We don't even know what they are doing.
Who are some of these ministers?
They say they're creating blue economy.
Marine and blue economy.
Marine and blue economy. The ministry was created for it. How far has the ministry gone? What are they doing? Because I see the minister more interested in going back to become governor of Osun than being more interested in making sure that ministry work.
What do you mean?
I see him more.
Has he made moves recently to suggest that he's more interested in state affairs?
He's receiving defectors from the PDP to APC. These are the problem Nigerian politicians are making, especially those who are elected to governors, either in the state or the federal level, is that they think that political office is for political consideration. No.
Why isn't that the case?
No, it shouldn't be the case. It's for you to have a proper system that must give life to the development of this country. You look for, capable hands. Look at other ambassadors. There was Okoje Wela. There was Obi Ekwesili. There's Dora Akunyele. There's these people that made impact. And that was how we had our debt cancellation. You understand? So, but I'm not seeing anything. You bring in most of the people, even the Minister of Power is a politician from my state. Everybody is, they're playing politics. Nigerian life is too important and too weighty.
But in the case of the Minister of Power, he has come out to, explain to Nigerians that it's about time they phase out the subsidy, even though the federal government had assured Nigerians initially that the phasing out of electricity subsidy would be, it would take a gradual process. But at the end of the day, here we are. However, he says that subsidizing electricity has become, a huge burden to the federal government. Perhaps the reason why they have to take
because the federal government is not even looking at where to be able to block the loopholes. There's corruption in government. There's corruption, if not for the whistleblower, who will know that what happened in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. There's corruption in government. There's so much money being misappropriated, being mismanaged. Government must put in proper system that must checkmate this fund, this criminality in our parastatals and government agencies, and then we'll have more money to ourselves. As I'm talking to you, we have NNPC. They said it's now a public limited company, and then we have over how many barrels of crude oil being stolen from our waterways.
But whose fault is that?
It's the fault of government. Government has the highest level of security power in this country.
But is it the government that actually deploys government officials to go there to steal crude oil?
It's government that's supposed to be able to protect this international collaboration between local and foreigners. We bring massive ships to come on our waterways and then take our crude oil. They are not ferries now. These are not ferries that people cannot notice now. The kind of what they use for bunkering. They are not ferries. So there's local collaboration that is making us lose money. Look at what happened. Have you seen what happened with Total Energy? Total Energy wanted to invest $6 billion US in Africa. Nigeria was one of the best destinations. But they are saying that the ease of doing business in Nigeria, the lack of policy consistency, the lack of a policy framework that will protect their investment is not there. They've taken the investment to Angola.
Let's talk about the Minister of, Works, David Umahi. He has come under, fire or heat from Nigerians lately with regards to the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. What are your thoughts on that? I recall also that the CUPP had actually issued a statement as well, frowning at the cost implication for that project. But it appears the minister is, is actually hit the ground running, and he really means business.
It's not about hitting the ground running. The problem with this current administration is that they are taking action before thinking. They will take action, then they will start to think and then readjust. Let me tell you something. You're talking about 700-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Highway. There was an initial design that's supposed to come through the Water Corporation line, which is far off from where these 57 businesses that are suffering demolition today are. You could have taken that Water Corporation, which is the initial design, and then save this business because of the bad economy we have. You know how many people that have been laid off from their jobs?
But they're going to be compensated.
Compensation is not enough. It's never enough. We've been in business that have had such issues. Government compensation is just, political, exigencies to be able to just shut everybody up. You can't do anything. 250 kilometers of the coastal line belongs to federal government. Every land in the Land Use Act belongs to state government. So the issue is that they would have taken that better route. And when you look at the project, it's not a project that will be completed in the next 20 years.
How do you mean?
I'm telling you, go and ask anybody. Look at Abuja-Lokoja Highway. What the government would have done, sincerely, is what I'll give credit to Wike for what he's doing in FCT, partially.
Okay.
I do not like that the scraping roads that are not come to their level of date of expiration. I don't like that. But the fact that it's giving speed to the project that have been abandoned, those walkways, bridges, and all that have been abandoned, because connecting Uye to Wuse and to other places, that bridge is marvelous. But what I'm also asking Wike to do as minister is not to continue to concentrate in the urban development project, to concentrate in Abuja municipal metropolis alone. The other areas, Abuja will grow well when there are even development between Buhari and Amak, Kuje and Amak, Gwagwalada and Amak, Abaji and Amak. If you abandon these other areas, you are creating problem. Because settlement, you're not creating concentration of people and continue to look for that rural-urban migration to continue to give us problem.
Okay.
So,
sorry to bother you. From your own perspective, what exactly should the performance yardstick be based?
The yardstick should be about what is the budget of the ministry? What are the projects that are there? How many have you been able to start? That's why government is not working here. You need to have a plan. What do you have for economy? This government has put Nigeria into so much poverty because of politics inconsistency and policy somersault. The president is the one that has synced this country. I'm telling you the truth. Because of what he did solely by the removal of fuel subsidy. Without no plan, no CNG buses, no train stations.
No, but the CNG buses will be rolled out
They are coming after 1 year. The man made this statement on the day of inauguration. It's coming after 1 year. Do you know the effect? Immediately that fuel subsidy was removed, transportation cost from Masaka to Abuja inside metropolis rose with about 300%. And those jumped up to 60,000 naira.
Agreed, the removal of fuel subsidy has, inflicted,
correlation between the state. There's no correlation between the state.
Easy. You are concerned about the duration of time it has taken this, administration to roll out the CNG buses.
No. There's no correlation between the statement, the proverb you've given now, than with the statement I'm saying. Nothing good comes easy when you are working for something. But it's not going to be easy.
Are you saying that
you get the result?
Efforts having?
What I'm saying is that there was a decision to do something before even thinking whether. There's no negative effect that will come from that policy decision. That's why you said policy must be structured, well planned, and implementation must be well, directed to a focused agenda.
The economy, not him per se, the ministry. How well has the economy fared? It's almost 1 year since President Bola Tinubu got sworn into office.
I don't see what they're doing in the ministry. Whether the fiscal policy, if you talk about fiscal policy, fiscal responsibility, or being, prudent in management of public resources, I don't see that. Because you are making budget for assembly for how many staff for 15 billion, the library 15 billion, when we have a major problem. See, the problem in Nigeria is in
What's
working.
the major problem?
The major problem is infrastructure. And it's not infrastructure that are situated to where the masses cannot access. Those are not the kind of infrastructure the government will pursue. Because these people already have as resources to attend certain hospitals within this country. They are many kilometers away from the national hospital. So what they should have done was to look, what are the problems? We're having problem transporting tomato from Kano to Lagos. We're having problem for Enugu, Anambra. How do you go that road? The whole road is condemned. Can we just make a double lane towards that side? And then look from Abuja, you go to Auchi, you go to all these places, and then you look at Ida and how they call it, and Aganebode. Can we just create a bridge? You look at the infrastructural road network, because there are certain, you can have power, have good road network, probably also add good train network. Nigeria will develop on its own by the sheer will of the Nigerian people. Nigerian people are the most industrious people you can find anywhere on the surface of the earth. There's nowhere you go to, no country, all the countries I've traveled to. As soon as I introduce myself as a Nigerian, they these guys are hardworking people. Yes, there could be some element of bad people who have given us bad names. No. But government must concentrate to make this country an industrialized nation. We must provide the necessary infrastructure that will drive that journey.
All right. Now, when you talk about the level of poverty and hardship in the country, it's quite disturbing. And one would say that a ministry that was, set up or created to tackle, issues that are related to poverty is now sort of dormant. What exactly is stalling the case of Dr. Betta Edu, who was suspended months ago?
If I go there, you talk about the ministry, the fiscal policy, and other policy, monetary policy. Inflation is going to about 34%. Food inflation.
No, we're not there yet.
Food inflation that's 33. It's 33 point something.
No, but we're not at 34 yet.
Food inflation is over 40%. So these are things that they are doing, and dollar jumped their tenor from 500 and something.
No, but we understand
to
that
1,900. Whatever you want to do to bring that dollar down by depleting our foreign reserve, it will not come down. We need to look for our own grown solution to this problem by making that small scale and enterprises work for the proper good and start to do production.
Okay.
Then, because our import has even reduced, we don't export at all. But now we're having import problems. So you know what I'm talking about. But the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, that is the heartbreaking, the ministry that the corruption breaks my heart.
Okay.
Because this is a ministry that is supposed to be responsible in trying to create, reduce the level of pain that Nigerians are going through with the bad economic situation that we are currently in.
Yeah.
Then people just sat down and started stealing the money. The money support, the ways I mean, is about $800 million. About $299 million have been spent from that ministry. If that has been spent, we supervising the remaining balance that she allowed misappropriation to occur under her. You announce that report. But if she is guilty and you find that she has committed act of misappropriation, act of criminal embezzlement or taking of government public money for personal use, then you ask the report. Because keeping her perpetual suspension is not even good for her mental health. So Nigeria must be able to act. You act so fast in suspending the person. Political reason. If not for political reasons, what is keeping the report this long?
No, but when it comes to the EFCC and other anti-corruption agencies, when they want to do thorough investigation, these things actually take time. That's what they make us understand.
The EFCC have said that they have gone for and they have concluded, I think, with almost the investigation of that, and they haven't said that many accounts that money were transferred to. So they should just announce what they have, even if it's preliminary investigation. You should be able to, by now, you should be able to know if she's guilty or not. People have not been able to increase minimum wage. They are not working effectively with Nigerian.
Is it their fault?
It's their fault because they are the one that's supposed to work with the NLC, representing the federal government, and present the proper minimum wage for the country. So what have they done? Nothing. So which should I look at? Minister of Defense, I told you, security is not anywhere, and security determines 70% of how country develop everywhere.
But it appears we have saboteurs.
It's not saboteurs. The issue is that the government is incompetent. The government is competent enough. Nobody have the infrastructure